The mist rolls in, heavy and unyielding. A clock ticks in the distance, steady but haunting. Time. It does not stop, it does not bend, it does not forgive. The screen is cloaked in fog. The sound of a low wind drifts across the silence, carrying with it the echo of footsteps that are no longer there. In the haze, shapes form and dissolve. An old candle flickers, its flame bending as though it remembers voices once gathered around it. A letter rests on a wooden table, the ink smudged as if touched by rain or tears. A silver ring glimmers in the shadows, spinning slowly, as if waiting to be claimed again. The voice of the narrator rises, calm yet edged with sorrow. Every journey begins with a choice, but once the path is taken, time decides the rest. And time has not been kind. The screen cuts to a wide sweep of a Scottish Highland wrapped in grey clouds. The hills seem eternal, but the soundscape reminds us otherwise soft ticking of a clock, the whisper of turning pages, the distant toll of a bell. The camera moves across stones carved with names that history has almost forgotten. Raindrops fall onto them one by one, each drop echoing like a heartbeat. The narrator continues. Love is a thread that binds across years, across centuries. But even the strongest thread can fray. Even the deepest vows can tremble in the storm. A close-up shot, a hand clutching a piece of tartan fabric, the edges torn. It slips through the fingers, caught by the wind, flying across a desolate field. A feather lands softly on the ground, but it is quickly crushed under the weight of a boot. The clash between gentleness and force lingers in silence. Suddenly, faint laughter echoes distant, fragile, almost ghostly. It fades into the cry of a crow, wings spreading as it cuts through the fog. The crow disappears into a burning horizon. Flames dance in the dark, rising higher and higher, yet never fully consuming what they touch. Out of the fire, a silhouette of a sword flashes for only a second before vanishing into black. The narrator's tone shifts lower, heavier. Time is no longer a gift. It has become a weapon. And every strike of the clock brings the end closer. The camera glides across an empty corridor lit by dying torches. The walls are lined with shadows, shadows that move even though no one is there. At the far end, a single door stands. Its wood is cracked, its iron hinges groaning as if they have carried too much weight. The sound of a lock turning echoes through the silence, sharp, final. The music swells, a deep cello note trembling under the weight of tension. Rain lashes against glass, lightning tearing through the darkness for the briefest instant. And in that flash we see fragmented images, a hand reaching out but never touching, a broken chain lying in mud, a river swallowing something precious beneath its waves. The narrator whispers, almost as if confiding a secret. Memories are never still. They wait, they breathe, they haunt. The screen fades into black, but the ticking of the clock does not stop. Instead, it grows louder, closer, pulling us into its rhythm. Tick-tock, tick-tock, a candle burns out. The sound cuts, silence. And then a heartbeat, slow, heavy, relentless, asterisk. The silence fractures. A storm rolls in, its roar crawling across the sky. Thunder shakes the ground like the beating of war drums, and lightning splits the heavens into jagged shards of white. The mist that once wrapped the land now whips into chaos, torn apart by the wind. Something unseen is coming, something that cannot be turned away. The narrator speaks, their voice deeper now, burdened with forewarning. Peace was never meant to last. Every choice has a cost, and every vow demands a sacrifice. A glass window shatters, scattering pieces across stone floors. Each shard catches the light of fire, reflecting fragments of faces that are never fully revealed, eyes filled with grief, lips pressed in silence, hands trembling. The shards spin on the ground, and from their edges comes the faint sound of cries, not of joy, but of sorrow. The camera shifts, waves crash against jagged rocks, exploding in foam as if the sea itself is raging against time. From the depths rises a torn flag, soaked and battered, its colors fading but not erased. A single drop of blood runs down the fabric, trailing like a memory etched into its fibers. The narrator's voice sharpens, urgent, like an unspoken warning. Alliances bend under the weight of war. Trust falters, and betrayal waits in silence, as patient as death, Images flicker, an old letter burning in the fire, its words curling into smoke. A hand dropping a key into the river, swallowed by the current. Two clasped hands breaking apart, torn away by unseen forces. The soundscape grows, overlapping whispers, voices arguing. The stomp of boots in rhythm with the heartbeat of drums. The storm grows heavier. Rain pelts the earth, the droplets striking harder, faster, until they sound like arrows raining down in the night. A sword slides from its sheath, the metallic scrape echoing into the emptiness. The blade catches the dim light, a cold promise of violence yet to come. The narrator lowers their tone, almost breaking into a whisper. Every heart that beats in love will one day be tested in fire. And not all will survive the trial. A battlefield fades in, not yet filled with warriors, but with the shadows of what is to come. A single feather floats above it, then burns mid-air before reaching the ground. The camera lingers on the earth, mud, rain, and blood blending into one indistinguishable surface, a sudden crash chain snapping. The sound is sharp, final, violent. From the darkness emerges the shadow of a figure, unrecognizable, faceless, but heavy with purpose. They walk past burning torches that hiss in the rain. Their footsteps echo louder, as if the very stones are warning us of their approach. The music rises low, strings trembling, a drum pounding like a heartbeat, growing faster, closer. Each strike feels like a countdown. The narrator's voice grows heavier, filled with dread. Time has turned. Love is no longer shelter. It is a battlefield, and every promise will be tested, until only truth remains. Images flash in rapid succession, a ring sinking into a pool of black water, a letter torn in two, a sword clashing against another, sparks erupting, a hand pounding against a locked door, a single candle flame snuffed out by the wind, and then silence. The storm stops abruptly. The screen plunges into darkness. The only sound left is the faint echo of a heartbeat, slower, weaker, but still alive. The narrator ends the section with a line that cuts like steel. The storm is not coming. It is here. Asterisk out of the silence, a flame stirs. Tiny, fragile, trembling against the dark, but alive. The single spark grows, slowly, carefully, until its light reveals the outline of a hand reaching through the shadows. Where destruction has carved its scars, the ember dares to glow again. The narrator speaks, their voice steadier now. Though weighted with memory, even in the deepest night, hope does not vanish. It hides, it waits. It learns to burn in silence. The scene shifts. Raindrops slide off a blade, no longer clashing in war but resting in calm. The storm clouds above begin to drift apart, just enough for pale light to slip through. The first glimpse of dawn touches the horizon. For a moment the world pauses, as if holding its breath. A torn piece of tartan fabric, once lost to the wind, lands gently on the grass. This time it does not drift away. A hand grasps it tightly, refusing to let go. Fingers close around it with quiet defiance, and in that simple act lies a vow stronger than iron. The voice of the narrator softens. Shifting from warning to promise, love may bleed. It may break, but it endures even when the world does not. The camera drifts over an old wooden table. Upon it sits a journal, its pages filled with words that survived the flames. Some are torn, some are stained, but enough remain to remind us of the story not yet finished. A pen lies beside it, waiting, as if daring someone to write the next chapter. Music swells, gently, violins stretching like the first warmth of morning, layered with a heartbeat drum that no longer threatens but reassures. Symbols of resilience emerge, a candle relit, its flame steady this time. A ring washed clean in the river, placed carefully back upon a hand. Two hands finding each other once again, gripping tightly. Refusing to part, the narrator continues, voice lifting with quiet strength. Where time divides, love unites. Where war consumes, faith rebuilds. And when all else fades, the story remains. The screen brightens just enough to show a horizon filled with movement, not shadows this time, but silhouettes stepping forward. They do not stand still in despair. They walk, they carry, they endure. Each figure faceless, yet heavy with meaning. One carries a torch, another a sword, another a book bound with leather. Together they do not retreat into the dark, they press into the dawn. The camera shifts upward to the sky. Birds scatter from the trees, their wings beating against the fading storm. Their cries rise above the lingering thunder, carrying a note of freedom. A single feather drifts down once more, but unlike before, it lands softly and remains untouched, a symbol preserved. The narrator speaks again. Firmer now, filled with resilience, every battle leaves scars. But scars are not the end. They are proof of survival. They are proof the story continues. Images unfold like memories reborn, a child's drawing pinned to the wall, the colors bright against the gray, a necklace clasped tightly in a hand, pressed against a beating heart. A fire rekindled in the hearth, warming stone walls that once stood cold. A book closing, only for another to open. The music rises higher layered strings, heartbeat drums, and a distant choir echoing faintly. As if voices of the past now sing for the future, the narrator closes the section with a vow whispered like a promise. The story is not finished. The bond is not broken. What has been torn will be mended, and what has been lost will be found. The screen fades into black, but this time the silence does not weigh heavy. Instead, it feels alive, ready, waiting for what comes next. For a long moment, nothing stirs. Then, faintly, the sound of a clock returns. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Each strikes slower than before, like time itself is hesitating, holding back, unwilling to reveal what waits on the other side. From the black emerges a single candle. Its flame flickers weakly, fighting against the still air. A shadow stretches across the walls, long and unsteady. The silence is broken by the narrator's voice, low, steady and deliberate, as though every word carries the weight of an ending. Every story finds its reckoning. Every vow finds its price, and every love finds its truth. The flame trembles, almost extinguished, but it steadies. The camera pulls back to reveal the candle sitting upon a worn stone altar, surrounded by objects we've seen before. The torn tartan, the blood-stained letter, the silver ring, the feather that once burned but now rests whole. Each item lies still, preserved, untouched. They are relics not of loss but of survival. The narrator's tone shifts, sharp, final. The past does not vanish. It waits. It returns. And it demands to be faced. Suddenly the candle blows out. Darkness swallows the screen. Silence reigns for a heartbeat. Then, from the black, symbols explode in rapid succession, a door slamming shut, iron bolts locking, a sword striking sparks against stone, a flood of water rushing into the frame, drowning everything in seconds, a single hand reaching through fire, grasping at nothing but air. The storm returns, not as chaos this time, but as rhythm thunder rolling in time with the pounding of drums. The camera cuts quickly between visions, faces hidden in shadow, a battlefield empty yet soaked in blood, a horizon split between night and dawn. The narrator speaks again, voice rising with the storm. Choices cannot be undone. Promises cannot be forgotten. And time will not wait any longer. The screen flashes white, blinding, almost unbearable. Out of it, one last image forms, a cracked hourglass. Its sand spills endlessly, pouring out in every direction, faster and faster until it feels like the glass will shatter. And then it stops. Every grain frozen in midair, suspended in silence, a single heartbeat echoes, deep, relentless, final. The narrator whispers the last line, almost breaking into silence. This is not just another chapter. This, is the end. The heartbeat fades into the sound of a distant bell tolling. With each strike, words burn onto the black screen in firelit letters, Outlander, Season 8, beneath it. The final line emerges, stark and unyielding. The final chapter begins. The music swells, violins rising like a scream, drums pounding like war, then cutting off all at once into silence. Nothing remains but the echo of the bell, fading into the distance, until the screen is consumed by black once more, and then one last sound. A clock chime, sharp, unforgiving, final.